morning and welcome back to Breakfast Television. Now we're currently looking at a drive that isn't too bad to start despite the weather that we are expecting for today. Taking a look over at the eastbound 403 right now, we're looking at delays through Dundas. It's a little bit busy but not bad heading eastbound in towards Mississauga. It's not too much of a terrible drive moving through Erin Mills, but we are looking at some volume over on the westbound 401. It actually looks like it's eased up by the 412 moving through Lake Ridge and heading towards Salem. But we are starting to see some delays on the westbound 401 from Nielsen to about Kennedy, alternately express and collectors, and that is all just due to volume. Also starting to slow on the westbound 401 from Leslie to Bayview in the express. That pedestrian that we had on the highway on the eastbound 401 approaching Yonge in the collectors, that seems to have been taken care of. We're no longer spotting that pedestrian there. C-Bond denture adhesive seals provide stronger all-day hold thanks to their unique gradual release technology. C-Bond, wildly adhesive. That is a look at what we have going on for your drive, Natasha. When can we expect to see this snow really come down?
Well, we're going to get kind of two waves. One will be later this morning. And right now, because temperatures are still hovering right around 0 to -1, there has been a lot of melting on impact. But if that temperature just sits right around -1, we're going to start to see that accumulation out on the roadways here. Heaviest snow is, I'm going to show you when that's coming in a minute. But there's the radar showing where that snow is right now. It is a light to moderate snowfall now. But we've got not just today, but 3 days of poor travel. Today is the snow from the Texas low. And then Thursday and Friday, it's all about snow squalls, blowing snow, winds gusting 60 to 80 kilometers per hour. We'll pick up another couple of centimeters each day, even up to an additional 4 centimeters on Friday. But let's talk about the timing of some of that heaviest snow. So this is the total snowfall. It's in the sort of 12 to 18 centimeter range for Toronto. The majority of that, these are two different forecast models. They have two different outcomes for 3-day snowfall. But what is very consistent between these two is where the pink bars are. And that is the timing here of the heaviest snowfall. And that may be a little hard to read if you have a smaller television, but it really is between about 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. tonight. That's when the heaviest of the heavy will fall. Not to say the drive home isn't going to be bad, because it also will be. You can see it's going to be snow all day. And yes, we're going to include some of that heavier snow through the drive home, but heaviest after about 7, 8 p.m. tonight. Back down to you, Mel.
All right, Nat, with this snowstorm happening now, we are watching a handful of bus cancellations, so let's get right to them. Looking at the Dufferin-Peel Catholic District School Board, we can tell you that buses to these specific schools, St. Andrew, St. Peter, St. Benedict, and RF Hall. So again, all buses canceled here. Buses from Dufferin County are also canceled today because of the weather. All other buses are running. DPCDSB schools, they remain open, though. So there's a lot to take apart here. We're going to put these on our website, citynews.ca. But again, here's the very latest. There have been a number of school boards, though, who have said their buses are up and running. This is just a handful that we're seeing at the moment. We'll continue to follow here through the morning. Meanwhile, Metrolinx hopes to have regular GO train service up and running on the Milton line. This after protesters took over the tracks, disrupting service last night. For now, the blockade is over. One by one, protesters either leaving on their own or forcibly removed from the rails. This is near Dundas and Jane. Several arrests were made. Charges will be laid. Officers started to move in around 3 this morning. Now, service to the Milton line was called off late yesterday afternoon, which left thousands of passengers stranded trying to get home. The protesters staging the sit-in in support of the growing anti-pipeline movement. They say they believe they've made their point, but it's not over yet.
No, we are not stopping until our stampede comes out of Wet'suwet'en territory, like the hereditary chiefs have asked for.
These people have drums. They're not there with drones and guns, and yet so many of them came. And I don't understand why there needed to be so many when there were so few on the tracks.
Justin Trudeau sat the other day and he said that he wanted to see Indigenous leadership. He said the onus was on us to show Indigenous leadership. Here we are showing Justin Trudeau what Indigenous leadership is.
The demonstrators handed an injunction by police. They were asked to peacefully leave. Right now, we don't have a number of charges laid just yet or what those charges may be. We hope to get some further information later on this morning. Well, last week, it was Mike Bloomberg in the hot seat. Last night, Bernie Sanders feeling the heat. The 7 Democratic presidential hopefuls hitting the stage in South Carolina for their 10th debate. It was Sanders, the frontrunner, who again was feeling this heat here. The Vermont senator was criticized for comments that he has made sympathetic to Cuba and fighting back claims that his platform is radical. Other topics included health care, how to deal with China, and Russian election meddling. Sanders was repeatedly bashed for his votes on gun control.
150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability.
The American people now understand that we must be aggressive on gun safety, not be dictated to by the NRA.
I was in high school when the Columbine shooting happened. And I remember everybody in Washington saying, never again. We'll never let this happen again. And then a second school shooting generation has now been produced. Shame on us if we allow there to be a third.
South Carolina's primary is set for Saturday, just days before so-called Super Tuesday next week, when 14 state primaries will be held, critical to the success or failure to these candidates.